What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Brandon Todd, and this is Talks with Todd, Ep.3. And today, we about to speak on seeking revenge. Where did it come from? What was the cause of it? Why did I get started with that mentality? Got a story for y'all. So, I want to say that the year was maybe 2003. Now, keep in mind, I'm young. I've always kind of had like a petty vibe when it came down to certain things, but it really hit me when I realized how disrespectful some of my peers could be, especially if they were friends of mine. And I'm gonna start where it really like took off from. So the year was 2003. I had graduated the year before that, and one of my homies, at the time, he tried to get at my cousin's girl. I told this story on another podcast before, but the problem with me wasn't necessarily that he tried to get at my cousin's girl. My problem was more so, bro, I told you what it was. We had a conversation. We was out and about one day and we saw this woman and it was like, hey, he got to flirting with her or whatever. And I'm like, yo, that's cuz woman. You gotta relax. Leave her alone. Oh, okay, cool. Shortly after that, he even went to hang with me and my cousin. Now listen to how grimy this dude was. We went to go hang, so I got him familiar with cuz and all of that. We hanging out, everything cool. Maybe a week or two later, here this guy go. They went to a graduation party or something, and he trying to flirt with my cousin's girl. Now, here's where the problem set in for me. Now, many may argue with me and say, oh, that wasn't your fight. It wasn't. However, dude heard me clearly say, hey, that's cuz girl. And I wasn't like I was being all finicky about it. Like I was being straight up like, hey, nah, this ain't that type of time, my guy. You got to relax with that. Like, I was really straightforward with him and stern. So it showed when he tried to get at her when I wasn't around. Obviously, my cousin wasn't around. That's when I was like, oh my God, the disrespect is real. Okay, bet. I got something disrespectful for your ass. Yes, sir. Because what old boy didn't understand that I already realized was how in love he was with his ex. And his ex from some time became my ex. However, when everything first transpired, I was like, I know exactly what to do. Now, back in these days, I was one of those guys that was into girls that had big boobs. I like boobs. This girl didn't have no boobs. She had ass. So she was the first girl that turned me into an ass man. And what I did was, just as grimy as he was, I got even grimier. One day he tried to call her. He was stalking her, right? So he's stalking this girl, popping up at her crib. However he was getting there, whatever, right? So I'm just sitting back chilling, acting like everything cool, like I don't know he just tried to hit on cuz girl. No problem. This is where I got my real grimy bag. I watched him dial her number. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it was a cell phone or a cordless phone, but I watched him dial the number and I hurried up with my little Nokia out, my little green screen, put the number in my phone. So, mind you, I know that they broken up. He mad about it because apparently she was great, but he messed it up. Now, since then, he done been with other women and everything, but he was still fixated on her. So I'm like, okay, I know what to do. I'm about to get at her. So this is what I did. One day I hit her up. I got to chopping it up with her, let her know, basically trying to make it seem like I was feeling her, which at the time I wasn't. I just wanted to hit just to piss him off. And later on, I realized that, once I got to talking to her more, she was actually cool. So I'm like, damn, man, old girl kind of cool, man. Why am I about to bring her in the middle of this bullshit? Like, I shouldn't even be doing this, right? Started feeling bad. And I ended up letting the cat out the bag and letting her know what it was. I told her the truth. We sitting in my car. I had an '89 Cutlass Supreme. It looked like a damn Coogee because it was so many different colors. It was gray on one side, black on another side, and burgundy on another side. And I I'm talking to her, and I'm like, I just came clean with her. I said, hey, listen, me reaching out to you, trying to get with you and all of that, it wasn't all genuine. Unfortunately, you were being used for revenge. My whole purpose of trying to talk to you is because your ex tried to get at my cousin's girl, and I felt like that was disrespectful more towards me than it was my cousin, because he was supposed to be my homie, and he showed me he not only was we not homies, he didn't have no respect for me. So once I realized that's where his aim was, I'm like, all right, I'm about to get this dude back by getting with somebody I know he really loved. And when I did that, obviously she was heartbroken. She stopped talking to me for a nice little minute. And I want to say I kept calling, trying to talk to her. It wasn't working. I can't remember who got in contact with who. However, when we did get back in contact with each other, that's when, she let me know, like, listen, my feelings is hurt about what you did. However, you did come clean. A lot of men wouldn't have told the truth about that. Some men would have just kept playing the role, acting like everything was something different and pretending. So I got to give you your props. So from there, we formed a bond and a relationship. Like I said, she was cool. That's what made me feel bad about doing what I was doing. So we carried on. We remained friends for a while, and then things kind of kicked up a notch. Now, while things was heating up between me and her, the same friend that I told you about, the same old friend that I told y'all about in episode 1, that's the same friend that instigated this situation. So he ended up telling old boy that I was getting with his ex. And at this time, he thought that me and her we already slept together, and that wasn't the case just yet. And we ended up in a fight. And it just so happens we got into this fight when I was messing around. I just was messing around with another girl. So I really wasn't prepared to fight, but I went on ahead and faced it because I'm like, you know what? If I run away from the fight, it's going to look worse than me losing the fight. So let me go ahead and face the fight. I was in no condition to fight, but I went on ahead and did what I could. Now, this dude was way bigger than me at the time. At the time, I'm like $120. If anything, I didn't have any muscle, none of that. You could have probably thumped me away around that time, you know what I mean? So the fight that I lost, it really didn't seem like I really lost like that, because dude honestly should have knocked me out. He was an athlete. He stayed in the gym. He should have knocked me to heaven, honestly. And that's not what happened. So that's kind of why I didn't take that loss as bad as I could have. Because at the end of the day, I still got the girl. And it was no big deal to me at the time, for real. I mean, obviously, I was embarrassed. I lost the fight in front of my friends. Some girls was there. The girl that I just got done messing around with was there. So it was just like, But even old girl still kept messing with me. She knew I lost the fight, everything. Normally, back then, especially back then, it was 2003. It wasn't no social media. I mean, we had Black Planet, but it wasn't popping like that. You couldn't do what you could do right now. So it really wasn't, so it wasn't no big deal that I lost the fight, because I didn't really have to relive it unless somebody wanted to bring it up just to spite me. So here it is, time go by. He asked me if I wanted a rematch, and I said, you know what? I was thinking about giving you a rematch until I realized what we was fighting over. Honestly, that night, had I been in my best condition, somebody could have lost their life. So what am I going to do that for of a girl? You've already moved on. So keep moving on. I'm cool. I got the girl. She's still messing with me, even though she know I lost the fight to you. So whatever. Kept it pushing. Time went on. We formed a relationship, and then, obviously we broke up for whatever reason. I was young. I thought I was a player. I was messing around with a bunch of different chicks. Some of them she knew. Like, I was reckless. But that was the start of me seeking revenge, where I took it to another level with somebody that I was cool with. And before I knew it, it kept happening almost. Like I had another, the same guy that was instigating situations with me and somebody else. He was running around town speaking ill on my name to the point where whatever girl he was interested in or messing with, they ended up wanting to come mess with me. That's how I started to learn that when you dirty mac on somebody, that doesn't help your case. You only turn the attention to the guy that you keep talking about. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was the start of it. So before I noticed it, I had started developing a pattern of, oh, whoever do me dirty when it come down to money or whoever speak ill on my name, I'm going after they girl. And the reason why I had that mentality of going after they girl, because anybody could lose a fight and bounce back from it. That don't mean nothing. That's just a physical aspect. When you get into somebody's head over a girl, whoo, it does some damage to them. It does some serious damage to their ego. See, I'm the type of guy, I really didn't have an ego, right? And the only time my ego really came out is if I was upset. But even then, it didn't even show like that. You know what I mean? So when I know dudes, especially athletes, when they driven off ego, it's a different story. And plus, you got to remember, guys, for those of you that don't know me personally, I'm a short guy. And I wasn't deemed as a threat, especially back then. You know, I wasn't deemed as a threat by the athletes and the gangsters. But I was always messing with their girl eventually. Because little did I know what my gift was with women. So as time went on, that was my thing. You talk shit about me, you play me on some money, whatever the case was, I'm going after your girl. Because I know your girl, whether it's your girl or your ex, whatever, I knew you was going to hurt more about that girl than you would have hurt over an ass whooping. And that was just my thing. Now, I kept this mentality for a long time because I realized most men, especially men that are ego driven, put a lot of stock in the women that they were with or previously, they were with or with it for the moment. You know what I mean? So once I realized that, I said, you know what, man, this is about to be too easy. So at some point, it became a sick game for me to mess around with dudes, girls, and all of that. And that was just my thing. It's either I'm going to get your girl or I'm going to get you back in some way. So, going back to me when I was rapping, I didn't have to go back and forth with my man Julian. I could have just took that L, but I wanted to take rap serious. And he didn't want to be embarrassed. So that's where that back and forth had to come from. We both was looking for something. He didn't want to be embarrassed. I wanted to be taken serious as a rapper. And the only way I could do that is if I kept standing up to him. So I want to say that's what maybe started the competitive drive, but I took it a step further with real life situations with that situation. And that's where it came from, honestly. I just got tired of people messing me over. At one point, I used to be the guy that was a pushover. I used to be the guy that people would think was weak-minded or just weak in general or easily to influence. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. Bet, I'm about to show y'all something. I'm about to throw y'all for a loop and do something that y'all didn't even expect coming from me. And that was my angle. So, as time went on, I started realizing, like, yo, you know what? I'm playing a dangerous game. I could really end up getting killed over some shit like this. It's people out here that really hold like a lot of weight on the woman that they're dating or the women that they used to date. And I could have got myself killed or ended up putting myself in a situation where I ended up in jail because I was messing with the broad that they was messing with anyway. So at some point I was like, you know what, I gotta stop this because I'm gonna end up dead. And the last thing I wanna die over is some ass. That's just, nah, man. I got more to live for than just that. So, eventually that's what I ended up doing. I ended up just kind of gradually not going that route, but I did have a petty streak. I'm not gonna lie. I had a very petty streak. And, as I was calming myself down from going after other dudes' women, even though I wasn't messing with them physically, I would mess with them mentally just so they could, like, let they dude know, like, hey, look, you might need to watch out for him, so stop playing with him. So as I gradually stopped, I stopped going after women physically, started messing with them mentally, and then they got to questioning the dude that they was with. And then at some point, they like, all right, let me not mess with this dude because somehow he know how to talk the panties off of women, and I can't compete with that. You know what I'm saying? All I got is my height, my muscles, and that's where it stops. You know what I'm saying? So when I was calming myself down from being like that, once I realized how bad it can get, I started just to kind of start approaching the situation more like a man. Because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I was on some slime ball shit. You know, like I told you when I was into it with my homie about my going after my cousin girl, I did some sneaky shit. I watched him dial the number, all of that. So I would do little things where people wouldn't see it. So then at some point I started being more upfront. Like, hey man, you got a problem with me? Don't address nobody else but me. This how we about to settle this. We either about to settle this like men and talk about the shit, or we can get into some other shit. But one thing I wasn't about to do was like lose my life or get into a fight over a girl, especially over a girl that was neither one of ours. Men need to start understanding that no woman belongs to us. They're not our property. Just enjoy your time. Because let's be real, nothing lasts forever. So more men need to start thinking like that. But also, more men need to understand that it's consequences to everything that they do. It's consequences. Even if no good deed goes unpunished. So if no good deed goes unpunished, you better believe that whatever you do wrong is going to come back on you, whether somebody see fit to seek revenge or not. But I realized, again, that was not the way I wanted to go out. I knew at some point somebody was going to kill me. And I wasn't about to go for that. You know, I wasn't about to go out like that. So yeah, seeking revenge played a major part into the person that I've become. And it also let me realize that it's power in not going that route. I had a lot more power when I didn't have to go that route with other people. When I did not necessarily turn the other cheek, but approach the situation differently. So I say all of that to say this, y'all. Don't go out for revenge. You know, and when it comes down to petty things, I should say. Because I can't sit up here and tell you, yo, don't go out for revenge if somebody tried to kill your kids or something like that. You're gonna, obviously, any parent that gives a damn about their kids are gonna want to seek revenge, if not justice. They're gonna want something bad to happen to that person, whether they do it or not. So I can't tell y'all that. But when it comes down to the petty shit, the small shit that's really not gonna matter as soon as it's over with, don't go for revenge. Don't let because let's be real, seeking revenge is emotional. It's some emotional shit. And it's really, quite honestly, a female trait to me. Now that I'm looking back at my past transgressions. Like, it's not a good look. And it, you know, I ended up creating a horrible name for myself. You know, at first I thought it was funny. Hey, yeah, don't leave your girl around me. You know what I'm saying? It was funny for a moment, but then it became a problem because it was like, yo, I'm not that guy no more. So if anybody's still looking at me in that light and I want them to stop, I have to change my ways. So that's it, y'all. Seeking revenge, how it all started. So basically how it ended. You know, I didn't want to go out like that, honestly. I just wanted people to leave me the hell alone. You know what I'm saying? I really did. I just wanted people to leave me the hell alone. And because I'm not the one thing about me, I'm not a shit starter, but I've always took pride in being a shit finisher. So that's why I always took it personal when somebody came at me. So, hey, you know, now that I'm older, knocking on 40's door, God willing, I'll be 39 in June. So, hey, I'm looking at things different. I got a lot to live for. I got kids. You know, I got a great wife. So, getting revenge on people is just not the way to go. You know, especially over something petty. So I advise people, especially young guys, not to move like how I was moving, because I always thought that was the thing. Even when it came down to who I was dating. Oh man, I was horrible with my ex-wives. They did something bold that night. I was going out messing around. But that's for a next episode. That's for a whole nother episode. We're going to get into that later. Check y'all out next time. Remember that. Indeed.